Welcome back to building this block with the.com. In this video we're going over how to build this grid in the.com and what that means. We'll also be covering how to make this cool interesting border, and we'll also be going over using positioning in CSS. As always, please subscribe to our channel and also follow us on Twitter at NoCodeDevs and join the community at www.nocodedevs.com. Let's go. This time I've just made the grid wrapper here, and this is what we're after to make, this grid here. So as you do, you go in here, we add another element. It's going to be a container again, and it's going to be a div, and this is the grid. In display, this is going to be grid as well. Now this is what grid is. So a grid is everything inside your container. It's how to manage information inside your container. So this is an obvious grid here. And there's different ways to display it. As it says here, there's also grid columns, there's grid rows which goes across. There's the gaps as well. This is a row gap, and that's your column gap. There's a lot of different CSS grid properties, as you can see here. For our use case, what we need to go on to is Command and K again, grid. Let's have a quick look at this again. Template columns, grid. So that's the number of columns you want to do. Grid template columns. Now FR1, FR1, FR. It means we'll make 3 equal template, 3 columns. And now we want the grid gap. So the grid gap, this is the grid gap. So it's in between each box is the grid gap. Here I've got 10 px, if I remember rightly. Grid gap. Oh, 16 px, sorry. 16 px, let's get it right. So that's that. So now, so that's our grid organized where we want it to. So this goes into here. There we go. So that's the parent. Grid wrappers is the parent of grid. Put it into that bit there. It should fall in line like this. So that's the parent. That's the child. Because they're side by side, I need to put it in there. Right. So next, what I need to create this product container which fits in each side every grid. So it obviously is every grid space or area, and inside it is a container. So again, inside this grid, we've got an element, we've got a container again, div, and call it grid container. So product container. There we go. Let's have a look at how I laid this out. Now for this, I'm going to put it as padding as 10 and scroll across. If I remember rightly, here the width was 200 px and the min height was 200 px. Key thing for this is the border. Now as you can see here, the border I've done, so it's 25 on this corner and that corner, which is represented by this here, the first bit, and it's 10 for this one. As you can see, it's quite a big radius here, quite a slight one there, but that's how we do it. So big one there, they reverses and it switches over. So I'm going to put that in there. It's not come up because there's no colour on it. So what I found here, so the bird is really this, and I'm going to do it slightly different to this bit here, which I just put in the border colour. For this here, I'm going to go, this is things you can do with the border. You can call it thick, double, and I've got a really cool colour to give it. As you can see there, see the fixed double there. I want to get a really cool colour as well, which is this here. There we go, which is that there. So that's a really cool colour. It's a thick border, it's double, and it's this really cool colour, really retro colour, which I really like. So that's that done perfectly. Slightly different from what I've got here, but you can see the effect it has. Right, so as you can see, I've got a little problem, something slightly different. I figure out what it was. It's this here. So to show you display, I've got it on block. It should be flex. So as I said earlier in the last video, block interacts with what's outside of it, whilst flex helps you interact with what's inside the container, because it's all centered. Flex will move straight into the center. So there we go. So finally figured it out. Now where we get to here. So this is display product container. I did another one as well. Now for this, I need to go to, if I remember rightly, oh yeah, let's add some padding as always. 10px padding, all done. What we also need to add for this is something called positioning. I'll show you here. Position, relative. Now what does this mean? Now back at W3 School, which is a lot of stuff about CSS, great resource for learning bits about CSS. These are the different positioning types: static, relative, fixed, absolute and sticky. Now static is the standard, which is what you normally set at. It's just as you would normally. Relative, as it says here, so relative position element will cause it to adjust away from its normal position. So if it's relative to something and it's 30px left with 30px from its relative position. Fixed is, as it says, it's fixed completely. You see sometimes the nav bars are fixed on the top of some websites and it's completely fixed all the way down. Now absolute is positioned relative to the nearest ancestor. What that means, so this box here is relative, absolute here will go inside this. I'll give a clear example of this later on in the video. And sticky will stick, you see it in some newer websites, but it sticks for a bit, goes down with your scrolling, and it sticks and you leave it. So for our case here, what we need to do, as you can see, for the block, for the container of this, we need position relative. Now, away, look, relative. That, position relative. Now for inside our container, I've got two H5s. So this is H5. So I'm gonna side here, add element H5. There we go. For this, I'm gonna change its name to There we go. For this H5, I'm gonna have the impact again. You can see it grew a little bit there. We obviously need to change the colour for this H5. And that's be text colour. I want it to be white. Perfect. Now you see, because it's the name, I want it in this bottom corner here. Now, when I've got that on absolute and the container and relative, you can guide it anywhere in this box here, in the container. So we want it 2px off the bottom. Perfect. If I remember rightly, 7px off the left, px off the left. There we go. That's perfect. Now look at the difference, what happens here. Take this relative positioning off, this absolute will go to the container, which is next relative, next ancestor, which is down here. Because obviously the main container is the entire website, because the entire website's got no absolute relative container. There we go. So that's why you need relative for. And for the next one, you need to put the band up. For this one here, I can just duplicate this and write the name of the band. Well, if I remember rightly, it's going to be, this is going to get deleted. Deleted. It's going to be 2 off the top, 2px off the top, and 7 off the right this time. And that's it. That is how I got those images in there. Now what we need to do is get the image in. What I've done for this one is I've just put the image inside as a separate image, as you can see there. But what I might do for this is something slightly different. What I'm going to do here is going back into get the image. I'm going to go back into my worksheet, back into media, add a new media, find the image, and downloads. There it is. There we go. It's come through there. Back into here. Now what I'm going to do with this bit, let's say I'm going to do it slightly different to what I did before. I did it with separate image. For this one, I'm going to play around with getting it so it's the background image. And what I can do there is background color, background image. Double click on it and it shows you images. It's in your media library. That's that there. And I'm going to repeat. I'm going to no repeat. I don't want it to be multiple ones if it's bigger size. And size, I want it to contain. Perfect. I might center it as well. There we go. Just as I want it to be. So that's come out even nicer than this image here. Perfect. So that's it. That is how you do that background image. So I could have put extra element in there and saved it like that, but I didn't want to do that. I want to save it as a background image. So that is perfect. Now, to delete that one there. If you want to do it, you can copy that and then stick another one in there, stick another one in there, stick another one in there, and so forth. You can change the titles of these. So whatever you want. And chains. That's it. That is how you do it. So that's come out even nicer than the original one I made. The background image come out nicer. I made a cool border, really cool border with this colour, which is thick double border, looking really cool. Right, so that's it. That's how I made it. So there we have it. We have created a grid for our site. We've made a cool border, gone over positioning and how to add background images into our elements. In the next and final video in this mini series, we will be covering feeding these elements from the .com CMS and also using media queries. So again, stay tuned and keep on building.